balance yin and yang inside my mind and join forces with the shadow to ascend the highest heights. It's like you actually need, like, the highest love is to actually overcome your traumas and, like, yeah, go through the darkness, witness darkness all around you for a long time, but eventually, like, imagine if you realised that actually it was your own mind dreaming the whole thing, and so you don't even have anyone else to blame, because, like, you kind of created it all. I'm not saying that is inherently the case, but also, like, yeah, like, I think the highest love in my experience can be to actually overcome, like, you can go through deep darkness for a long time, and to overcome that battle is a form of highest love. Yeah, that's some proper shadow work type shit right there, what you're on about, where you can't accept the darkness type thing. Yeah, bro, I totally get you. I've thought about this for so long. In terms of my own life, regardless of the reason for it, or if I'm just being ungrateful or unconscious, like, I have gone through really, really dark depression for very long. Psychedelics have got me relief from it, and I'm better sometimes as I'm learning a lot, but it was from as long as it was from the get go, man. And obviously, yeah, there's a lot of dark stuff in the world as well. And I'm telling you, yeah, you're right, bro. It's it's completely fucked. The actual shadow work aspect of existence is the fact that you can just incarnate as an ego, like some weak girl or something, and then get fucking raped and, like, thrown into the ocean or some shit. And that actually can, you will, like, incarnate and go through that potentially. I know what you, regardless of if it's going to work out in the bigger picture of, like, ultimate love, where actually you're going to be, eventually you'll be grateful for all of your incarnations and stuff. Nah, I totally get you, bro. That song, I know, I think he cut it out actually. They say it's the dark absolute. Like, there's nothing darker than, I'm totally with you, bro, in terms of, yeah, regardless of how it's going to work out in the bigger picture, the actual shadow work, that's what I'm going to call it, is shadow work, is, well, but it's not even shadow work. In the moment, it's literally pure darkness. Like, but yeah, I don't know how to accept it, bro. I'm telling you, it's fucking real. That darkness shit, like, because the way that it happened to me in my experience is, I just incarnate as this ego. It seems like I didn't choose it, and I just suffer for years. And I know, bro, it fucking kills me. I don't know what to say. But yeah, I don't mean to ramble on, but, like, yeah, I've said it on my own YouTube a few times, like, yeah, it is really difficult to kind of, like, swallow that hard pill to swallow, so to speak. Like, yeah, because it doesn't matter, like, in the larger context if it will be useful or if you'll be grateful for it. It's like, in the moment, yeah, I know, man. I think, I think, because I've said before on my YouTube, here's a question. Would you choose to suffer for nearly eternity if it would be absolutely worth it? But when I say suffer, I mean really suffer. That is a very good question. But yeah, no, the darkness, bruv, I'm telling you, is, I don't know, the highest understanding is, or it might be useful and stuff in the bigger picture, but yeah, it's fucking dark, it's real, there's a lot of it, and it's fucked. I don't know why it's built this way. For example, yeah, not that I encourage you to look at this sort of shit, but obviously you're aware, you don't even have to, but, like, there's a website, or you can find a lot of it on Twitter, but there's a website I'm pretty sure it's called watchpeopledie.tv or something like that. Bruv, I don't get it. It's like mums going out with their kids and then they, like, the stroller rolls onto the road, or someone, like, just makes the wrong move with their leg at the wrong time, and then, like, or just, I mean, I don't need to just, I don't need to describe it. I mean, I don't know if all of the, like, you know, because some Buddhas can just seem to, like, transcend all pain, nearly, or suffering. Pain is necessary, but suffering isn't, is kind of what they say. But yeah, it's just like, how the fuck can reality just let that happen? I know, that's why some people become cynical and reject any idea of God. But yeah, I think everything does need contrast, and I use the analogy of, like, you can kind of build an appetite. Like, you can only enjoy a meal having had an appetite for it. So for me, the darkness humbles me, and I cultivate deeper and deeper faith. Often I say after a long period of darkness that the only thing that could make up for it is if it was made up for by God. Like, please tell me there's a reason for it, because there's so much suffering. And when I say, like, would you suffer for nearly eternity if it was absolutely worth it? I think that, in a sense, it's a choice to make it worth it, I guess. Like, because you can choose to be grateful, I guess. I think, ultimately, in a way, it is all in the mind on the deepest level. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that, man. It's crazy how you can just incarnate as an ego and just get whacked up. Say when you watch a movie, there needs to be some form of opposition, otherwise there can't be a victory. Like, we couldn't love watching the movie of overthrowing Babylon if there was never Babylon to begin with, in a way. And the pain kind of sells the illusion that it's very real. Like I say, like Inspector Veg says himself, there is no Tao when you're skin. Like the flow, there is no infinite flow when you're skin. So it kind of like sells the... I think God likes to tell stories through humans. So like we're like acting in a play, and maybe in the biggest picture story it will go and be like the coolest movie ever. But yeah, in terms of does there have to be darkness in order for there to be good? No, I don't actually think so. Kind of like, I think, like, ironic, like in a way, I think the yin and yang, which is the good and the dark, I think the yin and like the actual symbol is goodness. I just deleted a voice note because I was just rambling on too much and drawing it out like I am now, ironically. But I think there's lowercase good and lowercase bad, which is the yin and yang. But then the actual symbol, if you zoom out, is uppercase good. Like, because it all works in the highest picture perspective. So I think there does exist a state of forever love that just gets infinitely better. Like, I do consistently go back to, like, my highest insight seems to be infinite love, even though there is and has been darkness. But like in some of my peak psychedelic breakthroughs of like philosophy and like metaphysical breakthroughs, it's like literally infinite love, where like it's almost like you just can't see it. Like, it's almost like your mind constructs all of the darkness by clinging and resisting, like the Buddhists say. Like, some of these, like, yogis, they, like, speak on, like, infinite bliss, and I've experienced infinite bliss, but, like, sometimes I can be, like, radically enlightened, where everything is just infinite love, and then sometimes I fall back down into this mental health shit, but it's like my mind is actually creating it by clinging onto reality. So it's almost like, yeah, like you believe that you are the ego that is getting whacked up by the external world, and that is what's creating the suffering. Or like, even though things can seem super gruesome, it's just like it's like a grand illusion, where like on the deepest level, it's almost like, yeah, like your mind is creating everything, but like, but yeah, it does seem that you like, in my experience, I just spawned in, and I just suffered loads. Not just to focus on myself, obviously that happens to and there does seem to be an awful lot of suffering in the world as well, that you can find like shit on the internet and stuff, of like horrific fucking like CCTV like accidents and things. So it's like, yeah, like what kind of God would allow that to happen? I don't know, like because on like some peak psychedelic you can almost transcend suffering. Alan Watts talks on torture victims, where if someone's being tortured, there's a certain point where they cross this boundary where if you torture them for long enough, eventually they stop resisting the pain and they become one with it. And supposedly when that happens, the way that Alan Watts speaks on it is when they stop resisting the pain, they know that they're through, and then they kill the person they were torturing, because they actually stop suffering. They become one with the sensations, And it's almost like the resistance of it is creating the suffering. You may have far out physical sensations, but that pain is different from suffering, supposedly, maybe. I'm not talking to you as if I know everything. I don't fucking know. I had to think about this for a long minute. But that's an important, like, you can see how that's quite interesting. Supposedly you can transcend just by letting go, in a way. But yeah, I think, like, the Godhead is, like, could potentially be, like, infinite love forever, in, like, formless spaciousness of infinite love. And I've experienced that to an extent, and a lot of people report on that. But I think maybe, like, the nature of duality, where, like, if we want to play this game of overthrowing Babylon, and, like, we potentially maybe decided to play the game of good and bad. And yeah, this leads into something else, is when you say, oh, like, maybe there doesn't have to be bad, maybe it can all be good. This is kind of an important, what I'm about to say is, when you say, like, the self of unity or something, this is another thing that I've heard Leo Gura speak on, is basically, if reality is infinity, and you are infinity, you are reality, you are the self, would it make sense to not accept any aspect of yourself? If there is a lot of darkness, that is an aspect of yourself as in. So why would you, as infinity, you resist, you know, say, oh, I don't like the bad, like, are you not in some way, like, because reality is exploring itself. And you can become, like, directly aware that that is the case. Like, everything that you witness, everything that is ever experienced is the self, with a capital S. So it is you. So why reject any portion of yourself? And you can get to this kind of enlightened state that Mr. Nature and Leo Gura kind of speak on, is where you basically love everything absolutely. Because you are directly aware that it is your own body. You're just exploring the infinite body and mind and consciousness of God. So why resist any aspect of it? You're actually not in alignment with self-love. But that's some next level lofty shit. Yeah, I don't mean to ramble, but I literally can't fit in, like, my response to this deep conversation without going on a fucking long one. Because it's a deep conversation, you know what I mean? Like, we can't even, I know I'm rambling on, but I can't fit my honest perspective on the nature of good and bad and yin and yang. The nature of suffering in a 1 minute fucking Instagram voice note. But I think one final point that I think is important is, like, there might be a lot of unquestioned assumptions where, like, a lot of the suffering could be a projection of the mind, in terms of, we are always going to be sovereign in our own bubble, to the point where you basically can't verify that any other entity has consciousness other than your own. You might be eternally alone as one bubble of awareness forever. So you might be creating and projecting all sense of other. So when you see something horrible happen to a being outside yourself, you don't know that they actually have their own awareness.
That is unraveled. Hit the light switch on the underworld trips. Deep in the ditch of the darkest pitch. Dive into my shadows, yeah. The waters was never shallow. I live my life on the deep end, yeah. With the man in the mirror, I had some battles, but I stand tall and defeated. Sharp like a warrior, bow and arrow. With my shadow, yeah. One with my shadow. Yeah. Staring to the flame, watch it shape shift. Black candles melt away the faces. Traces of minerals off the spaceship. DNA strands been broken and misplaced shit. A free world like the new Freemason. Building pyramids for the return of the ancient ancestors that speak to us through universe language. Offerings on the altar, how we make payments. I made a deal with the spirit guides to show me all my darkest sides before I bask in the love and light. So you can keep the whitewashed, colonized version of spirituality they access denied. Shit got tragic for the Asiatics, but this new wavelength is guaranteed to shift the tides. Balance yin and yang inside my mind and join force with the shadow to ascend to highest heights. Dive into my shadows, yeah. The waters was never shallow. I live my life